Well, I'll just say up front, they have gavelled this first ballot, even though we knew that Mike Johnson originally did not have the votes. This is really interesting, guys, that they chose to keep everyone standing by and not go to a second round. They've actually managed to change minds in real time. What those promises were, what those deals are, we do not know yet. But Ralph Norman and Keith Self, to your point, have just approached the speaker's rostrum. That's why they didn't gavel this out, to give them the opportunity, having met behind closed doors with Mike Johnson for some time there. They've since come back around. He has the votes. He's going to be the Speaker of the House in the 119th Congress. That's your breaking news. There was a 36-page rules package that was agreed to on Wednesday, guys, and that is really where the rub probably lies on where this actual deal was made, the way that the House of Representatives will function, the way legislation is brought to the floor, who will chair the committees. These are the types of things that they've been talking about in an effort to craft a deal. What they arrived at is unclear. One thing the Freedom Caucus was asking was that Chip Roy would be named chairman of the Rules Committee. It's unclear if that was in the mix or even on the table. This has all been done behind closed doors and in real time. When these lawmakers start to come off the floor, I suspect we'll learn a lot more about what just happened. But talk about some real-time arm twisting here. We're going to get an official tally now next as you hear the clerk drop the gavel.
And again, we are waiting for that comment, watching the House floor. Here we go.
The tellers agree in their tallies that the total number of votes cast is 434. Of which the Honorable Mike Johnson of the state of Louisiana has received 218.
There it is. 218 on the first round. A visibly relieved Mike Johnson on the House floor. His conference giving him a standing ovation here, guys. This normally, I say normally, in Congress's past would not have been such a heavy lift or a sigh of relief in this case. It's typically a formality on the opening day of the new Congress.
Hakeem Jeffries of the state of New York has received 215.
And there's your Democratic leader, Hakeem Jeffries, as expected. Democrats were unified in their vote today, as promised by the gentleman from New York. And so there we have it, 215, 218. The members have spoken.
And the Honorable Tom Emmer of the state of Minnesota has received 1.
The majority whip with 1 vote as speaker, something he can always talk about at cocktail parties. And now the governing can begin, Tim and Carol. We got through the formalities. He can swear in the members now.
Listen, he's got to feel relief, no doubt about it. But Joe, Mathieu, I always wonder about politically, how this looks. Better that it didn't go to a second round or a third round. Nobody would argue that. But that he didn't get it easily without having to have some negotiating going on. What are the implications potentially of that? Or do we start governing next week and everybody forgets about it?
I don't know anybody will forget about any of this. Let's remember, he will have a majority. If Donald Trump gets the members he requested to join his administration, a majority of 1. So when you see Mike Johnson talking to Hakeem Jeffries on the floor there, rest assured they're going to have to work together to make anything happen. The next step, of course, once we get through this swearing in the membership, they're going to have to craft out a plan, an agenda that will include border security and extending the Trump tax cuts. They're going to have to avoid a government shutdown. They're going to have to deal with raising the debt ceiling. Doing all of that with a majority of 1 is going to be very complicated for Mike Johnson, who is now making his way toward the speaker's rostrum so he can reclaim the gavel. A lot of happy folks here. But to your point, I think, Carol, the hard part actually starts now.